Okay, guys, so now we have to move on. Now we have our data. You should have all the data input into your spreadsheet. You have extracted from your address book, or you work with me to get your data put into your spreadsheet, your Google Sheet, or your Excel spreadsheet. You saved it as CSV. We'll talk about a little bit more about CSVs, comma separated values only into worksheets. Now you can do this both in Google Sheets and in Excel. So here in Lion Desk, we're talking about importing it using Excel, but you can also do it the same thing in free Google Sheets. It's just another asset for you to save $10 a month instead of just subscribing to Microsoft. And that, I know every penny counts in this industry. So without further ado, let's take a look at this importation using Lion Desk. And I went with Lion Desk. I used to be with Top Producer. I think they're a great company. However, there's some limitations that I think there was a limitation on emails being sent out. I think it was a max of 1,000. Lion Desk was with 5,000. It also has video text and video emails included. So there's a lot of, and then it's also integrated in when we do our sales dialer, power dialers, which will automate calls for you. I mean, it'll just dial them for you, not make the calls, but it'll actually dial them for you. So you can speed the calls up. It's very intricate, so you can make 100, 200, or 300 calls within 2 hours. So anyways, let's get to this presentation. Check this guy out. See, it's here.
Getting your contacts into our system. So if you have your contacts in your spreadsheet, maybe even in a different database, you'll be able to export it on a spreadsheet. As long as you have that spreadsheet, we'll be able to get those contacts into our system. So I do have a mock one pulled up. Let me pull it up. Here we go. And so this will most likely be what your spreadsheet is going to look like. So there's 3 things you want to keep in mind before the importing process. So first thing, you want to make sure that your file is saved as a CSV. If you're not sure, you can always double check. You can simply click on File. You'll see Save As. When you click on Save As, you're going to see the file name as well as the file type. So if it's not a CSV, you can click on that drop-down menu and then look for the CSV option. You do want to make sure it's the comma delimited. Once you're done, you want to click on Save. So again, number 1, make sure it's a CSV. Number 2, no more than 26 columns across. So if you look at the first row, I have ID, first name, last name, and so forth. So this only goes up to K, which is roughly 10 columns. You can definitely have more, but again, make sure to not go past 26. All right, number 3, you want to make sure you have no more than 1,000 contacts on your spreadsheet. Your database can definitely support more than 1,000, but for the importing process, it would only take 1,000 at a time. So if your spreadsheet holds more than 1,000, just make sure to split it into different files. This one only holds 100, so this is definitely perfect and ready to go. One thing to note though, if you look at the headers, you're going to see the headers that Lion Desk has and the ones that you have. Sometimes it's not always going to match, so let me pull up the pre-made headers. So this is what Lion Desk has pre-made. So you'll see first name, last name, email address, phone number, spouse's information, and so forth. If you have a couple headers within your file that do not appear in this list, you can still import that information. You would just need to create it beforehand. So if I look at my mock file, you're going to see price min and price max. Those do not appear as part of this list, so we would need to create that beforehand. So to create it, going back to Lion Desk, you're going to want to go to your settings page. So on the left-hand side, click on settings. And you're going to see on the right, on the left-hand side, if you scroll to the bottom past your lead sources, you're going to see custom contact fields. So you'll go in here and create any fields that are not already pre-made. So to add it, you'll see add a custom field. You're going to give it a name, so price minimum. And then below that, you're going to select the type of data. So you have the option between a date, a dollar amount, a number, or text. So for this example, we're going to select dollar amount. Once you're done, you're going to click on Add Field. And we're gonna add one more. We had price max. So again, add a custom field, give it the name price maximum. And then below that, the type of data. So again, it's gonna be dollar amount. And I'm gonna click on add field. All right, so going back to my spreadsheet, 3 things checked, CSV is done, no more than 26 columns, and no more than 1,000 contacts. So my file looks good and ready to go. I did create the custom fields, price min and price max, so that all that information will get imported. So let's go back to LionDesk, and let's import the file. So you want to scroll back up. You're going to go to the upper right-hand corner where it says welcome, and select your profile. On the left-hand side, right below your profile picture, you're going to see import new contacts. So you'll select that, and it's going to take you to this page. So step 1, upload your file. So I'm going to select my LionDesk file. All right, once I've selected my file, I can then continue to step 2. So when you continue to step 2, you're going to see it appear on the right-hand side. So you're going to see 3 columns. So the first column is going to be your field name. So this is going to be the first row of your spreadsheet. So if I pull up my spreadsheet again, this is going to show me the ID, first name, last name, and email, and so forth. The second row are going to be the LionDesk fields. So essentially, you're going to want to match them up. So that's, for example, first name, you're going to want to click on Do Not Import and select first name. The third column is going to show you sample data. That way you can always match and feel good about selecting first name. So you'll just go through the list and match up the fields. So for ID, I don't necessarily need this information. This was from my old database. Once it's imported, they're going to be assigned a new ID. So no, it's not required for me to submit this information. So I'm going to leave that as do not import. First name, I matched it with first name, and I'm going to keep going and match the rest of the fields. So last name is going to go with last name. Email is going to go with email. Cell phone, we have mobile phone. And now here we go, the custom field. So price minimum. Anything that is custom field, you'll find it at the bottom of the list. So if I scroll all the way to the bottom, I'm going to see price min, as well as price maximum. And then you'll keep going and match the rest of the fields. So again, mailing address with address, city with city, state with state. Notes, you'll be able to import. You'll see the notes section as well. Here we go. Once you're done, you'll click on Import All Data. Your data is being imported. Please check your contacts area shortly. If your contacts do not appear after a few minutes, please contact us at contact@liondesk.com for assistance. So a good way to check to see if your contacts have been imported. You can definitely leave this page. It's not going to stop the importing process. You can go to your dashboard. And as part of your daily vitals, we'll let you know how many new contacts are imported in the system. So my Excel sheet had 100 contacts. It matches with this number, so perfect. My contacts are now in the system. If you wanted to see them, you can click on contacts. I had more than 100. I had an old database, so I'm not going to be able to see all of them at once. I can, however, show created the date and see my most recent contacts appear. Perfect, so these are the ones that I've uploaded and now they're in the system. You also have the option to import contacts one at a time. So within this page, you're going to see the blue button, Add New Contact. So when you click on it, you'll receive this pop-up window. You'll just go in and fill out the information that you have. So you'll section for first name, last name, email address, spouse's information if you scroll to the bottom. And there's going to be also a section for comments. Awesome. So that wraps up importing your contacts. So if you had them on a CSV file, you'll be able to import them in bulk. If you had them, in sticky notes in a Rolodex, you'll be able to import them one at a time. All right. Thank you all for joining us today at the LionDesk webinar.
So guys, do not forget, this is the cornerstone, this is the foundation of your real estate career. I cannot emphasize that enough. Yes, it takes a lot of work getting set up. Of course it does. If it wasn't, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And I think this is this is one of the major cornerstones why people get out of real estate, because they never take the time to set up their system. And I don't want, that's not going to happen on my, you're in this class to make sure that you treat real estate as a profession, not just somebody's going to be doing this on the side and selling to your tias and uncles and cousins. You're going to be looking for people, and you're going to be working with your sphere of influence. You're going to be expanding your database. We already got your database going. So this is just a great step moving in the right direction. Okay, so after you did your imports, it takes a couple of minutes. Go back, check it, make sure that it's done. And if it's not done correctly, select that 1,000, delete them, re-import them. I've done this many times. Sometimes I had to re-import 5 or 6 times because I seen that my categories, not that the importation or the system was incorrect, it's that my CSV, my source, my data was bad. So I had people in the Heights area in Montrose, or I had people that were buyers and I had them listed as category of sellers, or vice versa. There's a lot of, it all starts with the data. So you have to get your data right in order to move on to step 2. Now we're going to be talking about setting up reports. We're going to be setting what you need to be doing, setting up plans. So make sure it's done right. If it's not done right, then hold on. Okay, so I can hear some of you guys already saying, why is it important to do this? Why is it such a foundation of real estate to have your database in order? And I'm going to give you one scenario that is just one scenario that I ran into when I first started. So I imported just my entire database from my Google contacts all at one time. And when I started sending emails out, I did get some responses, but I also got a lot of unsubscribes. And for those that know, there are people that unsubscribe from you, won't hear from you again. That's what we don't want. In order to prevent that from happening, is that we got to give them relevant information that is beneficial for them and their current situation. And we got to try to do our best. We're not going to get every single person. You are going to get some unsubscribers, of course, but we need to try to, like, for instance, if you categorized him as a buyer or a seller, and you're sending him buyer information or vice versa, he is a potential seller who's going to be selling his house in the next 3 years, and you're telling him about buying a house, and maybe you should be sending him information about updating his house, preparing the house for sale, things that work the best to sell a house, and upgrades. This is vital information that he, as a consumer, will look at and say, hey, you know what, Alan is sending me some current information. I'm going to take a look at his emails, maybe send him on a whitelist, which means that my emails get to him more currently. And maybe he'll ask me a question. Maybe he'll ask that realtor or you a question, and then you could strike a conversation, and that gives you a kind of hint that he's in the market to sell his house and buy a new one. So that's what we want. We want them to engage with us. We want them to think that we are the go-to person in real estate. So they come to us for questions. We don't go after them. We have presented ourselves as a professional in his area, or the expertise in real estate in general. And he's like, okay, who thinks real estate? Oh, Alan does, or you do. And remember, there's only 2 spaces in that person's brain for each brand or service. So there's only 2 spaces, number 1 and number 2. We want to try to be number 1 when somebody thinks about real estate. So that's the reason. You have to stay organized. We got to get them relevant information. If it's a seller, get them seller information. If it's a buyer in the next 3 to 5 years, get him a little, maybe we won't send him emails as much as possible, but we'll give him a 3-year plan. And there is a 3-year plan that you can send him, give him a call every 3 or 6 months, see how he's doing, and send him relevant information about buying, maybe like getting pre-qualified, things to look out for, not to co-sign, things like that. Just vital information that really helps him make a decision. So I hope these things help you. And a couple of tips. We got a lot more to cover. This is lesson 2, folks. This is lesson 2. You probably learned a ton already. And if not, make sure to hit that subscription button and that notification bell. Follow me in every avenue you see this, because I promise you're going to get some pretty good information. I'll talk to you guys soon. God bless. Over and out.